Let us go back to the distant past, to an age where gods and men lived together in harmony. There was once a kingdom called Angelland. This kingdom was ruled by two beautiful goddesses, Palutena, who administered light, and Medusa, who ruled the darkness. Palutena lived in the palace in the sky and administered light so that man could live in happiness. And bathed in this light, man grew food and lived in peace. However, Medusa, the goddess of darkness, was different. Medusa hated mankind. She took great pleasure in drying up the crops that man took pains to grow, and in turning people into stone statues. In her anger, Palutena changed Medusa into an ugly monster and banished her to the deep, dark underworld. For being changed into this ugly monster and forced to live in the underworld, Medusa promised to take over the palace in the sky where Palutena lived. So great was Medusa's anger that she joined forces with monsters and evil spirits of the underworld. Medusa's army soon began to surpass Palutena's army in strength. Soon a war between Palutena and Medusa began. Medusa led a surprise attack on Palutena's army, which could barely fend off the attack. Palutena's army suffered major losses and was heavily defeated in the final battle. What's more, Medusa's army took the three sacred treasures, the Mirror Shield, the Hour of Light, and the Wings of Pegasus, away from them. Almost all of the warriors in Palutena's army were turned into stone statues, and Palutena herself was imprisoned deep in the palace in the sky. The peaceful realm of Angelland became inhabited by foul and terrible monsters and was turned into a land of darkness ruled by the wicked Medusa. Locked in the depths of the palace of the sky, Palutena's strength was drained to its last. As a last resort, she sought the help of the angel youth, Pit, who was being held prisoner locked in a deep dungeon in the underworld. Pit was a valiant warrior who used to be in charge of Palutena's personal bodyguards. Armed with a bow and arrow brought to him through Palutena's magical strength, Pit attempted to escape from the underworld. The guard at this time was a low in number, and Medusa's army had advanced to the palace in the sky. Pit succeeded in his escape and set out on his long adventure to rescue Palutena. Yet to defeat Medusa, he had to get the three sacred treasures. Will Pit be able to restore Palutena's light and return it to Angelland? Only you can answer that question. Icarus, released in 1986, is a unique hybrid that blends platforming, RPG elements, and surprisingly stealth gameplay, all wrapped up in Greek mythology. You play as Pit, an angel who begins the game trapped in the underworld with scorched wings, unable to fly. This opening perfectly sets up the game's central challenge. You're literally climbing your way out of the depths of hell in the first level, climbing vertically through this nightmarish gauntlet. The game shares similar aspects with Metroid because they were developed by the same team simultaneously, Nintendo's R&D 1, using the same engine. They feature similar exploration aspects, but Metroid is about exploration and in finding power-ups that let you backtrack and explore further. What sets Kid Icarus apart is the genre blending. Beyond the platforming is the robust RPG elements. It's hidden, but you're collecting hearts, and they're not just currency to buy items and upgrades from the shops, but you're gradually powering Pit up through this process, and you get the chance to encounter someone who lets you upgrade your bow and arrow. Without doing this, without collecting the hearts and killing the enemies, the game becomes very difficult. So much so that when I was a child, I couldn't beat it because I didn't understand that part about it. There are stealth elements as well. Part of it is just crawling through, making sure you're killing the enemies as they come and not just advancing through and getting the entire screen full of enemies and trying to platform your way through it. You're much better off hanging out until you're through one round of enemies and then moving on to the next, which is a very stealth kind of gameplay thing. Besides that, there's the obvious stealth aspect of having to avoid the Reapers. And then I'm going to say on a personal note, I was about 10 when this game came out, and I got it shortly after it came out. And the story behind me getting it was I was given a Nintendo game as a gift for some reason. It was either my birthday. I think it was my birthday because it wasn't Christmas. I know that much. So it was probably my birthday. I was given this I wasn't given this. I was given Metroid. And I played, I was excited for the new game. I popped it in. I got through the first, I didn't go left because I was a Mario gamer. I went right. And I got through the first couple of screens and I couldn't find anything. And I wanted a platformer, and there was no platforming in this. I didn't mind if it was something like Mega Man. I wouldn't have minded that so much because I didn't mind shooting, but I didn't know where to go, and I didn't want a puzzle game anyway. So my parents talked to the people at the store. They were like, "This game's broken. You can't go anywhere." And they said, "Well, it's an exploration game. You have to do this and that." And they told me how to get the ball, and I got that, and I still just wasn't happy. And they were really nice at the game store, and they said, "You know, if he doesn't like it, bring it back in." And they did. My parents brought it back in for me, and they came back with this game instead. And I was a lot happier with this game. As a child, like I said, I couldn't beat this game because I didn't realize that there was an RPG aspect to it. You can see we're in the first level here, and I've got almost 300 hearts now. This is the way you want to be playing the game, where you're leveling up. And there's two reasons for that. You're going to need to buy items, and also if you don't level up like this, if you don't get the hearts, you won't be able to level up your gear. You meet this guy. I don't know exactly who he's supposed to be. Maybe we can find it in the manual. If I can, I'll put a quick note. I'll figure it out somehow online. I'll put a quick note here on screen. For God's sakes, it's Zeus. That's who he is. Mystery solved. But whoever he is, he helps you. He gives you upgrades. So I would highly recommend this game. It is one of the best NES games out there. It does help to know that you need to treat it like a role-playing game. It also helps to know that you can, if you duck at certain areas, you can just fall through. And Pit can't fly, so keep that in mind. This game was developed by Satoru Okada. He created this game and co-directed Metroid at the same time in 1986. He was also the producer of Metroid 2: Return of Samus on the Game Boy. He was also the producer of Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters on the Game Boy. Both of those were in 1991. He was the director of Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3 in 94, the producer of Wario Land 2 in 98, and the producer of Wario Land 3 in 2000. I did finally end up beating this game in high school, and then I went off to college, and my mom gave my NES away, so it was the last thing I did. If you are still unconvinced that this game is not a stealth game, besides what I'm showing you here on screen, I can tell you this, that when you go to the shopkeepers, in order to get a cheaper price, or sometimes a more expensive price, I can't really figure out which it is, why, and when, but if you take the second controller and hit a certain button combination, you'll either get a discount or you'll end up being charged more money from the shopkeeper. Now, there's only one other game I know which makes you pick up the second controller or plug your controller into the second port in order to get something done. And that's Metal Gear Solid, which is definitely considered a stealth game. So there's my final proof. Kid Icarus is the first stealth game. This did release actually a couple years before Metal Gear, the original Metal Gear. But that's about it. I'm finished.